we have already did this in our previous classes. We already have seen how to create a virtual disk or configure a virtual machine. So these are the things. There are lessons. There are six lessons in this that we have to work on it today. Okay. So in our previous modules, we have seen how to install an Hyper-V, how to evaluate an environment for virtualization, then installing an Hyper-V, and then we moved to networking, where we saw the complete networking of Hyper-V. And now we are doing this lesson, which is creating and managing hard disk, virtual machines, and checkpoints. So the objective of this module will be creating and configuring a virtual hard disk, create and configure virtual machines, install and import virtual machines, manage virtual machine checkpoints, monitor Hyper-V, design and manage virtual machines for server roles and services. So let's see what is creating and configuring virtual hard disk. So instead of reading this, I can also straight away go to the lab and show you how is it done. So there are different kind of fixed size, dynamic expanding virtual disk size, and differencing virtual hard disk. So let's demonstrate. Let's do the demonstration. Create a virtual hard disk. Okay, using Hyper-V Manager to create a virtual new hard disk. Follow the steps. Just give me a minute. I'm trying to open Skill Pipe on my another computer. So we use Hyper-V Manager to create a new virtual hard disk with following settings. So how do you create a new virtual disk? Is new hard disk. So in new you have three options. You have virtual machine, you have floppy drive, and hard disk. I'm going to hard disk. Click next. The settings what it says is format VHDX. So we have selected VHDX. What is the difference between VHD and VHDX? VHD is an older version. VHDX is a newer version from 2012. VHD supports 2 terabytes, not more than that. If anything has to be extended beyond 2 terabyte, it cannot be done. And VHDX supports up to 64 terabytes. So this is the main advantage of VHD and VHDX. I mean, this is the main differences. So I guess you guys already have the module 3. So see the module 3 because I cannot put it on the screen. Click next, and then it's asking for type dynamically expanding. So there are three options of this you can select from. One is fixed size, dynamically expanding, and different things. So what is fixed size? Fixed size means suppose if I need a 10 GB of storage. So if I select fixed size, so 10 GB of storage will be fixed and will be given to you as if you buy storage or memory card. Suppose you buy a pen drive from Walmart. It comes with 8 GB, 16 GB, 32 GB. So these are fixed. So similarly, a fixed size means you have a big hard drive, and from that 10 GB will be given to your VM. Dynamically expanding. Dynamically expanding means this type of disk provides uh, if I request for 10 GB and suppose I have installed or copied only 1 GB of data, so this will consider it as only 1 GB. And as I use it, it gets extended. Then if I put 2 GB on it, it gets extended to 2 GB. As I put data in it, it uses that much of space up to 10 GB. Suppose after 10 GB, if I am putting something, it will not accept it, but it's dynamically expanding till 10 GB. Different thing. This type of disk is associated in a parent-child relationship with another disk that you want to leave intact. You can make changes to the data or operating system without affecting the parent disk so that you can revert the changes easily. All children must have the same virtual hard disk format as a parent. If it's VHD, it should be VHD, or if it's VHDX, it should be VHDX. So as per the demonstration, it says dynamic VHD. So we will select dynamic expanding. Click next, and now it's asking for the name. So let's name it as dynamic one. And where it's going to stay, it's going to store in the same default location what we have selected. And how much is saying? It's saying 100 GB. I'm not going to put 100 GB. I'm going to put 10 GB. Finish. So we have created one VHDS dynamically expanding. Let's go ahead and create, as per the demonstration, you're asking us to create one more, which is VHD disk. Click next, VHD, next, and it's asking for different things. Next, let me give the name. Different thing. Different thing on VHD going to store at the default location. For creating this, we need to create a parent first. We don't have a payment as of now. But before that, we need to, okay, we need to create one list. Just a minute. Then see this. Now create one more. VSC, different thing. Now it's asking for the name. We will give us CI. Next, location. So, want to impose this here. Next, finish. Different one different feature. So this disk is actually on top of this one. And the third demonstration, it says in Windows PowerShell, use command new VHD to create a new virtual hard disk with the following settings. Okay, let's try this. New VHD, new VHD. I need a path where to create it. So this is our path. Now the commands are not working for it, so let me go ahead and create it using GUI. Address, it's asking for fixed VHDX. Next, type next, fixed one. Next, I'm going to put here as 5 GB. Next, finish. This is how the fixed drive gets created. Computer. Now I will show you the difference of this disk. If we go to our source folder, we have created different thing to one dynamic one. Okay. Now, if you see the size of dynamic one, it's 4096 kilobytes. That is 4 MB. And if you see, this is what the size is. But what we have given was 10 GB. And if you see the fixed size, the size is 5246476 kilobytes, which means it's 5 GB. So I have given a fixed size of 5 GB, and that is why 5 GB has been allocated completely. Here we have given 10 GB, but it didn't got allocated. It has given it a space of 10 GB, but it's dynamically expanding. So if I put a file of 2 GB in dynamically expanding drive, so you will see that now it's 2 GB. So when I add to 0.5 GB again, so it will show us 2.5 GB altogether. So up to 10 GB it gets expanded. After 10, it won't. So that is the advantage of fixed and dynamic and different things. Let's go ahead and see directly attached this example. We can also attach a disk directly to the virtual machine. If I have to give a one complete disk to virtual machine, we can do it. Virtual machine can use virtual hard disk files of physical disks that are directly attached to a virtual machine as their hard drive. Directly attached physical disk enables virtual machine to bypass the Hyper-V host and access storage directly. Let's see if we can see the example of it or not. Coming. Oh, this is what we need to do if we have to use this disk. I have a disk. I'm moving the configuration files so that I can show you how it works. This may also affect my working sessions of current virtual machines because the configuration files I'm moving it. I'm going to start the recording. The main, some of the main features of directly attached disk are when the virtual machine is using a directly attached disk, there is no associated virtual hard disk involved because the virtual machine is accessing a physical disk. Directly attached disk provides superior performance similar to physical disk because there is no overhead involved. On Windows Server 2012, the newer versions fixed disk virtual hard disk provides similar performance. Dynamically expanding virtual hard disks have one slightly lower performance. If a virtual machine will access the directly attached disk on a SAN, you do not need to mount the LUN on the Hyper-V host by using iSCSI or FiberChat. Accessing directly attached disk provides lower CPU utilization, obviously, because CPU don't have to act here, and so, so there are some files that are not getting moved over. Actually, not some files. All the files they are not getting moved over. Just give me a minute. Yeah, it's not working. If I don't have an extra disk with me to show you how it works, but you need to understand here. Let me show you the options. So I need to have a physical disk and it has to be offline. So if you see right now, all of my disks are online. Disk manager. Okay. So if you see, all of my disks are actually online. So I will not be able to show you the example what I was actually trying to. So this is not offline, so I cannot do it. So if it's offline and this option will be highlighted. So you just have to select it, click on apply and okay, this hard drive, what the hard drive what we select here is going to be given to DNS2. So DNS2 will be able to use the physical hard drive. So it says a physical disk must be set to offline state on the Hyper-V host before you can configure it as a directly attached disk for a virtual machine. You cannot expand directly attached virtual disk dynamically unless such functionality is provided in the SAN. So SAN is a storage access network, but we are not speaking about SAN. We are speaking about our directly attached hard drive. Hyper-V volume shadow copy (VSS) writer cannot backup directly attached disk, and you cannot use Windows Server Backup in a parent partition to backup such disk. In such a case, you should use backup program that is installed on the virtual machine. Can you view a directly attached disk from a virtual machine uh, that a virtual machine is using from a disk management tool? that is running Hyper-V host on which the virtual machine is running. I don't think you can see this option. It will not show you that it's a directly attached because what happened is even the virtual disk, what is getting presented to a virtual machine, it won't say that it's a virtual disk. If I can show you an option, let's see this property. It will show you the disk details. If you see here, you don't find any information as such. Virtual hard disk sharing. So let's see what virtual hard disk sharing is all about. Prior to Hyper-V in Windows Server 2012 R2, virtual machines use virtual hard disk exclusively. This means that while one virtual machine was using a hard drive disk, no other virtual machine would use the same virtual disk. With Windows Server 2012, you can share virtual disks between multiple virtual machines. This can be especially useful when configuring failover clusters in virtual machines. Prior to Windows Server 2012 R2, you would only use iSCSI or Fiber Channel Scan for storage use. In Hyper-V, Windows Server 2012 R2, you can use shared virtual hard disk for the same purpose. We can enable virtual hard disk sharing only for VHDX files. So this cannot be used for VHD. It only can be done using VHDX files that are connected to a virtual iSCSI controller. You cannot use virtual hard disk sharing for .VHD files that are connected to a IDE controller. You can store the shared .vhdx files only on Scalable cluster. This can be clustered storage volume (CSV) on a block storage, which includes cluster storage space and scale-out file servers, SMB 3.0 file-based storage. You cannot enable virtual hard disk sharing if this prerequisites are met. For example, if VHDX file is connected to a virtualized SCSI controller but is stored locally or on a SMB 3.0 share. So this I have used this dynamically one on DNS2. Okay, so yeah, let's turn them on. Let's see the reaction. Okay. Prior to Hyper-V in Windows Server 2012 R2, virtual machines use virtual hard disks exclusively. This means that while on virtual machine was using a virtual hard disk on other virtual machines could use the same virtual hard disk. With Windows Server 2012 R2, you can share virtual hard disks between multiple virtual machines. This can be especially useful when configuring failover cluster in virtual machines. Prior to Windows Server 2012 R2, you would use only Hyper-V or Fibre Channel SAN for shared storage. In Hyper-V in Windows Server 2000, you can use shared virtual disks for the same purpose. You can enable virtual hard disk sharing only for VHDX files. Now let's see what is quality of service management is QoS. In older versions of Hyper-V, it was not possible to limit I/O operations per second (IOPS) per virtual machine. If a virtual machine had a application that was stored in 10 steps with the large number of read and write operations to the storage, the virtual machine would monopolize the Hyper-V host, and other virtual machines would have slower access to storage. In Windows Server 2012 R2, Hyper-V includes an option of configuring QoS parameters when virtual machines are accessing the storage, so that you can provide enough IOPS to each virtual machine. You can configure storage QoS for each virtual hard disk by specifying the minimum IOPS value and on the advanced features. Let's see this option. Enable quality of service management. If I enable this, I can give minimum and a maximum IOPS. So the server should not use half, I mean the number beyond the maximum what I give. So this what will happen is suppose one server is using exclusive all the IOPS. I mean one physical server can have some number of IOPS like 2000. So if one virtual machine is using 1800 IOPS, so what will be left for all other virtual machines? Only 200, but that is very less for for other um, virtual machines to work on that IOPS. So for every virtual disk you are putting it on a virtual machine, you can go into this feature and give the minimum and maximum IOPS they can use. But minimum this should be used and maximum this much can be used. Sometimes you can go minimum with zero and do it. And if you see this option, virtual disk sharing, Enable virtual disk sharing. If we enable this, we can use the same disk on a different virtual machine as well. And let me take this out. I just wanted to show you. So virtual machine is running. So virtual machine should not run when we are doing such an operations on it. So turn off, turn off. So let me go again. Hard disk, advanced features, enable disk sharing, apply. The storage where the virtual hard disk is located does not support. The storage does not support it. So what is the criteria for that? Let us read once again. You can enable virtual hard disk sharing only for VHDX files. The first thing that are connected to a virtual Hyper-V controller. You cannot use virtual hard disk sharing for VHD files that are connected to virtual IDE controllers. You can store the shared VHDX files only on a failover cluster. This only on a failover cluster. So we don't have a clustering done between two servers. So there should be a cluster. When there is a cluster will have a cluster storage, which is cluster storage volume as CSV on block storage, which includes clustered storage space. Okay, so I hope you guys understood the virtual disk sharing and the QoS. QoS is you can take it as a policy. Hyper-V considerations for hard disk, virtual hard disk storage. So these are the considerations of storage. When working with virtual machines, a virtual hard disk requires by far the largest amount of storage space. So virtual hard disks encapsulate the content of entire virtual machine hard disk. They can be very large and their size increases through time. If they are dynamically expanding or decreasing, you should ensure that there is enough space for the virtual machine on the storage. Virtual machines are running on same Hyper-V hosts are in competition for disk I/O. To improve performance, you should have as many as fastest physical disks as possible. Windows Server 2012 includes storage space so that you can create redundant storage for virtual hard disk. If available, you should use solid state drive. So these are all recommendations. You don't need to follow them, or I mean this is actually getting followed while when you are working in a company. So antivirus software should exclude Hyper-V specific files, including virtual hard disk VHD and VHDX. You can use SAN for storing virtual. It's recommended to use SAN storage for storing your virtual hard drive. So if anything can happen, your storage is really very it's not in the servers. It's actually on a separate SAN storage. So anything happens to your servers, your data will be still safe and can be usable. The only thing is you need new servers, create the virtual machine, and get the storage from that SAN. On London host 1, use the edit virtual hard disk wizard to expand text VHDX to 2 GB. Use the edit virtual disk wizard to expand dynamically to 200 GB. Let's do this. Okay, what it says, the first demonstration step is on London host 1, use edit virtual hard disk wizard. Edit disk. Next, location. This is the location where all the disks are saved. There is my fixed disk. Next, convert or expand. What it says on London host 1, use edit virtual hard disk wizard to expand. So convert option is used for VHD to VHDS, VHDS to VHD. Expand. Next, how much more? What size do you want to make the virtual hard disk? Current size is 5 GB. New size 6 GB. Yes, I want to make it 6 GB. Next, finish. Do you see the number? It's now 6 GB. This is how you edit and expand. Use edit virtual machine wizard to expand dynamically the one we created, the dynamic one. Let's do that. Edit this. Next, browse dynamic one. Open. Next, expand. Next, so current size is 10 GB. Let's make it 15. And this dynamic disk, if we go and see here, note down the space what it's showing, 104096. Finish. Do you notice that? You can expand whatever you want to. But since it's a dynamic one, I mean the dynamic hard drive, you will only see the size of the drive as much as the data it has. It has C drive. I want to put one more drive here. So let me close this file, turn off settings, controller, address, browse, dynamic one, open, apply. It's already connected. Oh, it's already connected. I'm sorry, guys. Let me open it once again. Do you see this? This I got a space of 15 GB here. So it's an offline one. So we have to online it first. So if you see this, it says it's a disk one. It's giving me two options, MBR or GPD. Do any one of you remember what is the difference between MBR and GPT? MBR means anything that is less than 2 terabytes. GPT means if you are going to expand anything more than 2 terabytes, it has to be in GPT because and if you are trying to change something from MBR to GPT, GPT to MBR, you can do it. I'm using GPT. Click OK. Now you have to give a drive letter. So you have an E drive now of 15 GB. Okay. Now if I go behind and Edit this. Next. Browse. Dynamically expanding. Okay. Next. Expand. Next. Make it 17. Next. Finish. That's it. Go back to the server. You will not find it here. You will still see 15. You need to go to disk management. Do you still see 15? No. So let's go ahead, rescan this. Do you see this? 15, 2 GB unallocated. So now what do you do? What do you want to do with this space? You want to create a new one? New drive? I can make a new drive with this space. Or I can extend my previous one. If I have to extend this, right click next. I have this next. Finish. So now all the space has been entered into my previous disk, that is E. Now if you go here, refresh it, 17 GB. So with this we have completed the first lesson. Creating and configuring virtual machines. Let's go ahead and do this. Guys, you can take a 5 minutes break. It's 4:24. Let's get back together at 4:30. A 6 minutes break, okay? I'm restarting the recording now. And let's go ahead and start lesson 2, creating and configuring virtual machines. I'm going to go very fast on this because you have already did it. You know this, how to create and configure virtual machines. So after completing this lesson, you will be able to describe the components of generation 1, virtual machine, generation 2, virtual machine, create virtual machine, describe the configuration of virtual machine settings, describe dynamic memory, smart paging, describe integration services, configure integration services, describe the use of virtual fiber channel adapter. What are the components of generation 1 virtual machine? These are the components. An overview of generation 2 virtual machine. Let's go ahead and do the demonstrations. So the first step is asking to create a new virtual machine. So we have done this so many times. Let me demonstrate this once again to you. Uh, New virtual machine. Next, I'm going to name this virtual machine as if the book says. So let's name it as London VM2. Next, generation 2. What is the difference between generation 1 and generation 2? This virtual machine generation provides the same virtual hardware to the virtual machine as in previous versions of Hyper-V. But generation 2, this virtual machine provides support for features such as secure boot, iSCSI boot, Pixie boot. Using a standard network adapter of guest operating system must be running at least Windows Server 2012 or 64-bit version of Windows 8. Next, startup memory says 1024 MB. Use dynamic memory. We need to tick mark on it. Next, I will use external switch next, and next, next, finish. The second point again says to create one more virtual machine for a generation one server. Next, London LON VM1 generation one. Next, 1024. So it has ID controller in it. So the fourth point is on London Book 1, use Hyper-V Manager to confirm that there are three types of hardware listed in the add hardware. One is Hyper-V, network adapter, fiber channel adapter. Confirm also that no BIOS, IDE controller, COM ports, and disk drives are listed on the firmware, but that firmware is listed. Now, let's go ahead, check the settings and add hardware. If you see here, the iSCSI controller, network adapter, legacy network adapter, fiber channel adapter, remote FX 3D video adapter, but uh, this one is not highlighted because in my server we don't have a video card in it. BIOS ID controller, if you see it has BIOS, it has ID controllers, COM ports, disk drive, and if you see here, you will see firmware, you will not see BIOS. Memory processor, iSCSI, you will not see IDE controller. Where is COM ports? You don't see COM ports. So both of them have different architecture, generation one and generation two. Okay, now what the fifth point is, use Hyper-V Manager, confirm that you can add five hardware types to LON LC1. Confirm also that BIOS IDE controllers, COM ports, and this are displayed but no firmware display. So on VM1 settings. So this is generation one. You have all these options, and if I want, I can add this hardware. iSCSI controller, network adapter. After this, five. So these were the demonstration steps. Configure with using. And now let me directly go to the demonstration step, configuring integration services. Creating and managing virtual hard disk and virtual machines. So Aiden Corporation is continuing with its pilot virtualization project. You have deployed the virtualization host by installing Hyper-V on Windows Server 2012 R2 in one of the subsidiaries. The next step is to deploy virtual machines on dual host. Because the virtualization platform is new to Aiden, you need to spend some time familiarizing yourself with the Hyper-V features and components. To do this, you decided to deploy and evaluate different hard disk types and virtual machine configurations. Create virtual hard disk. Create virtual hard disk. So then use. So we have already created this disk. Use Hyper-V Manager to create new virtual hard disk with the following settings. So we know how to create a virtual disk. I'm not showing anything in respect to PowerShell because it will take a longer time. for me to come up with the right command and then to explain different virtual hard disk types. So if you guys remember, if I right click and go to hard disk, you have VHD, VHDX. When you click on VHDX, you have three options. When you click on VHD, again you have the three options: fixed, dynamic, and differentiating. I have already explained to you about these three, and I have also shown you how it changes if we add it. I have also shown you how to add a directly attached drive, but I cannot do an example on my end because I don't have a one drive available. So now create and manage virtual machines. If you see this, create virtual machine, manage virtual machine, works with dynamic memory. So what is dynamic memory if you guys remember? So if we are creating a new virtual machine, this is dynamic memory for the virtual machine. So as if the hard disk is dynamically, we are using dynamic hard disk, there is also a dynamic memory, and this is what it is. So dynamic memory is something like the memory is only used what is al- what is allocated, what is not allocated. Memory is used what is needed. Suppose if I give a 32 GB of RAM to one server, so now if it's used or not used, that 32 GB has been given to it. So if we have this option, dynamic memory, so what will happen is suppose we have given 32 GB RAM, the server is only using 4. So the rest of the RAM can again be shared between some other servers. So that is the use of this option. That's it. If you see this, enable quality of service management type 100 as minimum and 200 as maximum. So this is about IOPS. So minimum 100 IOPS, maximum 200 IOPS. So this server they will not allow more than 200 IOPS to the server. Installing and importing virtual machines. This is the third lesson. So let me show you how to export it and import the virtual machine. Let's take a VLAN 1. Export. Asking for the location. The location. Select folder. Export. So now this machine is getting exported. If you see the status, you can see it here. This machine is getting exported, and this machine is open right now. I'm exporting the machine right now, and I'm also working on it simultaneously. I was showing you, like, it will not affect your work by when you are exporting something. So right now, everything is getting exported from this machine to a new one. The export is about to complete. It's successful. It's done. So let's go to export folder and check it out. VLAN example one has been exported completely. 8.87 GB. Now I want to import it. Right click, import virtual machine. Next, from where want to import it, wherever the export is there, select folder. Next, this is the name of the virtual machine. Next, register the virtual machine in place, restore the virtual machine, copy the virtual machine. I want to make a copy of it. This option will be used. Suppose R we have exported it and then we worked on the server. Okay, let's go ahead and do some operations on VLAN example one. Okay, on example one, if you see it doesn't have an internet on it. I have created this and mm, file explorer. Let me go to C drive, uh, delete it.
Yes,
Okay,
few question, brother.
tell me. Tell me what's the question.
Yes, sir. Are we just trying to import like a virtual machine from another server? Is there what it is? Just
I am See, what I did is I did export first, okay? So I have exported. We usually do these steps before when we are going to work something uh, that is critical.
is it within which server or out of from another server? I mean, just
It can be
curious.
from other server also. It can be from other server, no issues.
Okay, thank you.
I'm trying to mess with this server so that to that point where we cannot go to desktop at all. Nothing is happening with it to show you how that export and import thing can help us. I think I just want to break it. Let's see if this server comes up. Oh yeah, it came back. So it's coming back on. It's done. If you see this, the server is all messed up. Right. So there is exit and continue in Windows Server to go into the level. The PC ran into problem and refused to restart and collecting some error information or whatever it is. This is gone. This this is the server is died. Okay. So this is what we were doing, and now if we have to restore it back, I can go to this option of restore it back. And, so now we did an export. Now we are doing is import next. And where is the export file here? Export. Yes, this is the server. This is a virtual machine. VLAN 1, yes. Register the virtual machine in one place. Use the existing unique ID. Next. Fail to create a virtual machine. So, okay, we are not getting that option. We could copy the virtual machine with the unique ID. Store the virtual machine, and this is the location. Okay. Next, where do you want to store the imported virtual machine? This should go here. Oh, this already has this data. So what we will do is export, export example. Okay, we will select this folder. Next, finish. This will take some time to make a new server. So once it's done, I will show you. So this is what about importing and exporting of a server. Importing virtual machine, importing virtual machine, virtualizing a physical computer. Okay, this is still going on, so we will move forward. Manage virtual machines. Installing and importing virtual machines. Importing virtual machines. Enhanced session mode. If you guys ever remember what is enhanced session mode, if you say I'm trying to copy this to RVM, I can't do it. But if I have this enhanced session mode enabled, I have to relog in, and if I copy it and it starts the copy. You see that? This is what enhanced session mode is all about. It has a lab on it too, explaining the same thing. This is the important topic, managing virtual machine checkpoints. You see this? This is this is running, which is corrupted, and the new one is saying save. I want to open it. Connect, open. You see that? So whatever has been had happened to our old server, the new server is up and running. So suppose if your application team has done a mistake or you did a mistake and some files got deleted, which so the server is not coming up, or due to some application conflict, if the server is not coming up, so before doing any changes in the server, you can take an export, and if don't work as expected, you can just import it back and make it work. And you can delete the old server now if you have to. And the new server is perfectly going to serve it the way it was doing it before. Now the next point was checkpoint. What is a checkpoint first of all? So is it? It is also one of the uh, let's take the same example. Okay, checkpoint. Now I want to create a checkpoint. If you see, uh, the thing is there, and it says checkpoint now. So it created a checkpoint. Okay. Now I want to go to this server, checkpoint one, and I want to change how how the screen looks, display, desktop background, solid colors. I want to make it yellow. Done. This is checkpoint one. And I also want to create, suppose these are some files, okay? Uh, checkpoint one, new, oh no, that's enough. Okay? Outgoing it. Done. Checkpoint one, checkpoint down. Now I will go ahead and create one more checkpoint. Okay, I created one more. Right. Now I want to make some more changes. Now I don't like this color anymore. So go to screen resolution, go to display, desktop background, and I want to get green. Save changes, window color. Okay, apply, save changes, apply, background. I want to use again this background, save changes, apply plus. So new folder, checkpoint two, checkpoint two, what by name, checkpoint two, checkpoint one, checkpoint two, checkpoint name. Right. So now I want to create one more checkpoint. So checkpoint one, checkpoint, checkpoint two, right? And I also want to make one more checkpoint. I don't like this color anymore, so I go back checkpoint 3. So suppose I am doing this every day, I mean not on one day, or usually as I said before, working on anything that is important, we make checkpoints. So checkpoint 3, uh, sort by name. Now I need a different resolution. I don't like this anymore. Go to display. Right. So this is done. Now I will go ahead and create one more checkpoint. Checkpoint. Checkpoint 3. Okay. So these are all checkpoints that has been created on different levels. So if I have to go back to, suppose I did something and now my Windows is completely gone. So let me create one more checkpoint now. Okay. Yeah, I will create one more. Everything is deleted. Right. Done. Checkpoint. Checkpoint 4. Now on checkpoint 4, I really don't like this. Uh, Everything got deleted. I want my things back. So I can go ahead and apply checkpoint 3. Apply. No, directly apply. So now it's applying this. Okay, restoring it. Restored successfully. Now let's go ahead to the server. Let's see. Did you see that? I have deleted it, but I got it. I can see it now. I want to go back to checkpoint 4. Apply. Mm, mm. So you see that the same way I can go to checkpoint one, apply. So this checkpoint means you go to your earlier restore point. It's like a restore point what where we want to go to that point. It restores you back. You see this checkpoint one. So this is all about checkpoints. This is how you create checkpoints. This is how you and the limit per virtual machine is 50 checkpoints. You can create up to 50 checkpoints. Trust me, it's a huge number. It's a restoration point. Uh, if you guys can also restore your computers. Every computer comes with a restore point. If the computer automatically restores it. Sometimes you can do it by going here, res restore. Create a restore point. If you go here, so even on your laptop you can do it. Create a restore point, and if I click on OK, it will create a restore point today at this time. So at this time, whatever I have on my computer, whatever that is running on my computer will run it, even if I delete everything on it. Everything will be saved the same way. There is no concept of templates. If you remember, Venkat has shown you uh, how the template can be created and in VMware, but there is no such concept of creating a template in Hyper-V. In Hyper-V, we do things very differently. We don't need a template at all. You can directly use the disk, and you can create a new virtual machine there and then. So you don't need uh, a template. Creating and managing checkpoints and monitoring Hyper-V. We are not covering monitoring of Hyper-V, but the checkpoints is completed. So doing it again is no point of, and it's the same example what I have shown you. Like creating folder to checkpoint. If you go through this, it's the same example. Guys, did I emailed you? Let me also stop the recording. We have completed module 3.